image from Photomax Pro. Now I'm going to save this file, and I'm going to save as the beach 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tone map. I'm going to save it in that same folder. And then now I'm going to go Command Q and close out of Photomatix, and I'm going to open up Photoshop CS4. I'm going to import in the tone mapped image. Alright, there it is. Now let me do a few things here. I like to work with a black background because I usually frame my images with black, and so I just kind of go ahead and start there. So I'm going to right click over here, I choose a black background. Now let's go from here. Alright, this is where it gets fun. Oh, okay, over here in the layers palette, I have my background layer. I never work on my background layer. It's just, you don't work with it. It's there in case you completely screw up. You don't have to re-import everything. You always have that base layer to kind of check things and see how far you've come or how far you've gotten off track, whichever the case may be. So I hit Command J a couple of times, and all I'm doing is duplicating this layer. So if I do this, nothing. All right. Now, the way I work here is I go, and I usually work on the sky first. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to grab what's called the Quick Selection tool, and it has a couple of options, but I've got it on Quick Select, not on Magic Wand. And I'm going to isolate out my sky. And this is pretty cool because if you drag a bit and then you stop and let go, it doesn't, it doesn't screw up. It just waits for you to come back and grab the mouse again. So here I've isolated out my whole sky. Now I'm going to hit Command Copy and Command Paste. So now I've got my sky isolated. So if I turn off all of these, there's just my sky. And don't worry about all this stuff later here because we'll fix that. And a lot of times it just doesn't matter. So there's the bottom layer. It's under the top layer, which is just the sky. And if you can imagine these layers top to bottom, they're actually like sheets or acetate layers laying on top of each other. Okay, let's go tweak the sky. I'm going up here to curves, and I'm going to bring the sky down. Now notice the whole picture is getting dark. If I click this little guy right here, it's just the sky now. So there we go. There's my sky doing its thing right there. All right. And again, all this is personal preference. You may say, what the hell is he doing? It looks like crap, but this is what I like right now. So, and you can kind of tweak things up. That characteristic S-curve on the histogram is quite often, it just kind of gives me a sky that I like. So anyway, all right, now I hit Command E, and that's going to combine this layer here so I can move on. So there's my new sky. So if we want to see the first change, I click off the new sky. There's the old sky. See, that looked good before, but that looks better. Okay, better. All right. Let's go down to the base layer here, and let's take a look. So what's missing? One of the first things I want to do here, since this sunset is so vivid, the reflection in the water should be as vivid. So I'm going to do something kind of cool here. I'm going to turn off the underlying layer and turn on a layer that is 3 layers down. And I'm only going to worry about how this looks right here. So just bear with me here. I'm going to get my curve graph again, and I'm going to work on this right there and see how that kind of makes that water look like that. And again, Command E to combine it. Let me boost my exposure a little bit here. And I'm not worrying about all this other stuff over here to the left. I'm just worrying about this little piece of orange on the water. All right, now let's kind of exaggerate this. All right, okay, there's my exposure. Now I'm going back to this layer here, and you can see everything I've changed in the water, but it's a little too vivid on the left. But I think my reflection of the sun in the ocean is about where I want it. So now on this layer here, I'm going to create what's called a mask, and a mask is simply It's if I paint in black, everything will show through. It doesn't show up in black. It shows through to the layer under. So I'm going to paint in this little box in black, and then this layer, the one with the really syrupy colors, is going to show through only where I paint in black. So there's my black selected. I go to my paintbrush tool. Now I'm in black, and I'm at 23%, flow 32%. So this brush isn't going to be completely overwhelming. Okay, so see that? And that's coming through. Pretty cool, huh? Now I've got complete control of it. Now the cool thing about using a mask is if I paint in white, if I switch here to white, it starts putting stuff back the way I found it. So I'm not doing anything destructive to my image. I can make a mistake, say, you kind of overdid it there, and go back and do it again. All right. So, and see here, you can actually see where the black is kind of showing up on the mask. So, there we go. All right. So now I feathered that in, and that looks a little more, I don't really want to use the word realistic, it just looks a little more like it should, I think, okay? So, and the cool thing is now, I can go back and adjust my exposure and see how it just changes right there. Like there's way too much, there's way too little. So let's just kind of boost it back to where it should be, right in there somewhere. And if you look at it and kind of look away and then look back at it, it looks believable. Again, if that's a term you can use in all this. So I'm going to combine this layer here, and now I'm going to combine these two layers. Now,